He checks his bank balance before he checks his messages. The number decides how relaxed he sounds at dinner. His partner says she feels safe with him. His parents call him the strong one now. His siblings pause before joking about money. When he pays, the table goes quiet for a second too long. When he hesitates, the room shifts. Promotions come with congratulations and new expectations. No one asks if he wants the pressure. They assume he can absorb it. He notices he cannot complain without sounding ungrateful. He cannot slow down without alarming everyone. The higher he earns, the less space he takes emotionally. Stability grows. So this distance. And he starts to wonder who he would be if the transfers stopped. The income is not just money anymore. It is structural stability. Every deposit confirms the system still holds. Every delay feels like a crack in the wall. You no longer experience earnings as reward. You experience them as relief. Relief means the collapse did not happen today. Your body does not celebrate. It scans for the next demand. The higher your income climbs, the more fragile it feels. Expectations expand faster than comfort. Bills adjust upward without asking permission. Lifestyles calibrate around your output. People reorganize their decisions around your reliability. Your partner relaxes into plans that assume your consistency. Your family speaks about the future using your name as certainty. You become the fixed point in every conversation about risk. When something breaks, eyes turn toward you. When something costs more, silence waits for your response. You start measuring your words before you speak. If you sound unsure, the room tightens. If you hesitate, confidence drains from other faces. Your nervous system registers this instantly. Stability depends on your tone. Security depends on your stamina. There is no room for visible doubt. There is no public space for fear. Financial pressure stops being situational. It becomes positional. Money signals who absorbs uncertainty. It signals who cannot afford emotional volatility. It signals who must remain solid even when exhausted. The role hardens around you quietly, and the more reliable you become, the less replaceable you feel. This did not start with your salary. It started with watching money decide the mood in your house. You learned early who carried tension. You learned who went quiet when bills arrived. Maybe one parent absorbed the stress and the other avoided it. Maybe silence filled the room on payday. Maybe arguments followed small purchases. Your body mapped it all. You noticed who was respected and who was blamed. The earner had authority, even when exhausted. The dependent had needs, even when ashamed. Love bent around income without anyone saying it out loud. You learned that providing meant protection. You learned that earning meant control. You also learned that losing income meant losing voice. Stability and approval fused together in your mind. If money flowed, connection felt safer. If money tightened, affection felt fragile. As a child, you promised yourself you would never let the structure shake like that. You would be the stable one. You would be the reliable one. You would not let fear enter the room. Now you are older and earning more than they did, but your nervous system still reacts like that child. Every financial fluctuation feels like emotional risk. Every expense echoes an old argument. Every dependent face mirrors a memory. You are not just paying bills. You are trying to outrun a past version of instability, and the role of breadwinner feels less like success and more like inherited duty. Your body does not experience breadwinning as status. It experiences it as threat management. The moment others depend on your income, your system shifts into vigilance. Rest feels unsafe. Slowing down feels exposed. You start scanning for problems before they appear. You anticipate expenses before they are spoken. You rehearse worst-case scenarios in quiet moments. Sleep becomes lighter. Time off feels conditional. Even joy carries background calculation. Your nervous system links performance with belonging. If you produce, you stay central. If you falter, you risk displacement. This is not dramatic, it is biological pattern recognition. You learned early that instability changes tone. Tone changes connection. Connection changes safety. So you override fatigue, you override doubt, you override resentment. The body tightens, but the face stays composed. People describe you as steady. They do not see the internal bracing. They feel protected by your regulation. That protection becomes expected. Over time, the vigilance stops switching off. Your baseline becomes high alert, dressed as responsibility. And when everyone else relaxes, your system stays awake. At some point, the role stops feeling chosen. It starts feeling assigned. People introduce you as the provider without asking if you accept the title. Your income becomes your defining trait in the family system. Decisions orbit your capacity. Plans expand to match your output. You notice subtle shifts in tone when money is discussed. Suggestions sound like expectations. Gratitude sounds like relief. Relief sounds like dependency. If you pull back even slightly, the energy changes. Conversations stall. Faces recalculate. You feel it immediately. Your identity is now tied to continuity. If you ever step down, someone else must step up. That possibility threatens the structure. So you stay loyal to the role. You work through resentment. You ignore small signals of burnout. You tell yourself this is maturity. But underneath, there is a quiet conflict. Part of you wants to be seen beyond income. Another part fears losing relevance without it. If money stopped flowing tomorrow, who would you be in the room? The stable one or the liability? The authority or the burden? The answer feels less certain than it should. The system tightens in predictable ways. Your income increases and access increases with it. More requests arrive disguised as normal conversation. Small favors become assumed coverage. Your availability stretches beyond your comfort. People stop filtering their needs. They assume you can absorb the overflow. When you hesitate, the atmosphere shifts slightly. Not anger, not accusation, just recalculation. You feel the downgrade risk instantly, so you comply faster next time. Generosity slowly converts into obligation. Support converts into entitlement. The more reliable you are, the less optional you become. You notice you cannot express financial fear without destabilizing others. You cannot admit doubt without lowering confidence in the system. So you censor yourself. You underplay stress. You overstate certainty. The hierarchy solidifies quietly. You sit at the top in responsibility, not freedom. Everyone else distributes risk downward. It concentrates upward toward you, and the structure starts to depend on your silence as much as your salary. Over time, your world becomes smaller. You choose safer risks. You reject opportunities that could lower short-term income. You avoid conversations that question your capacity. You stop sharing half-formed ideas. You present certainty even when unsure. Friends treat you differently once they know you earn more. Some defer to you. Some distance themselves. Some expect quiet coverage when plans exceed their budget. You notice who watches your reactions before ordering. You notice who assumes you will handle the bill. The room feels uneven even when no one says it. Dating changes, family gatherings change, even casual group chats change tone when money enters the thread. You feel pressure to maintain the image, not luxury, not extravagance, stability. If your lifestyle shrinks, questions follow. If your mood drops, concern spreads. You become careful with visible weakness, careful with visible decline, careful with visible limits. Slowly, you remove parts of yourself that don't support the role. Complaints disappear, vulnerability shortens, spontaneity fades. The higher you stand in responsibility, the narrower you live in expression. And the isolation no longer feels accidental, it feels structural. No one knows how heavy it feels. They know the stability. They know the version of you that handles everything. They do not know how close you are to wanting relief. If you keep earning, the distance grows. If you slow down, the structure shifts. Either way, the room changes, and you are no longer sure whether they need you or just your income.